Rage Against Addiction is a nonprofit organization designed to provide support and awareness to anyone affected by drug and alcohol abuse. This organization provides valuable resources and programs not only to the person going through the recovery process, but to their families as well. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to meet some people that are going to give us a personal view of how they dealt with recovery and where they are now, and also let us know how they can help families that are going through the same ordeal. I'm Christy Breslin, and this is Harford MagaScene. Wendy Messner is the founder and director here of Rage Against Addiction, Inc. We are so happy that she has taken the time to join us today. She's going to tell us about who they are, what they do. They help so many people here in Harford County who are battling addiction and alcoholism and get them on the road to recovery. Wendy is here to talk to us about their mission. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Christy. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Wendy, tell me about Rage Against Addiction. What exactly is your mission?
Rage Against Addiction is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to provide awareness and support to anyone that struggles with drug and/or alcohol abuse, including the family.
So, is this something that's open? It's open to men and women as well, right? Both men and women?
It is. We have sober living houses for women, but we also provide support to men in the area as well with our sober living funding program. So yes, it's for men and women.
When did it first begin?
We started in 2014, and we have just grown from there.
Now, is this something that you started, or is this more of a franchise operation?
No, I started it. I actually am the mother that lost her daughter in 2015. So when I realized that she was struggling with drug addiction in 2014, I decided to try to help by finding safety nets that were not in place for her. And so when she would have a situation where she was not getting the resources that she needed, I was trying to research on how to help her and others. Unfortunately, in 2015, she did pass away.
Wendy, as a mother, from your experience, how do you get through it? I imagine you probably think about your daughter every day.
Oh, absolutely. I really believe that this organization has helped me find purpose in her loss. And when I meet the other women that are in recovery and that are doing it, it really is very fulfilling for me.
Well, from what I understand, you've helped a lot of people here in Harford County. Can you give us an idea of how many people that you've helped, how many people you've reached out to?
Well, since 2014, we've had multiple programs, and so I would say if I had to pick a number, it would be thousands.
Now, obviously, having gone through it and being with the women that have gone through the same thing, it seems like you guys really get each other. Is that the case?
I feel like we can heal from other people's story, to know that we're not alone in situations, even from those who struggle or those who are grieving. It's very similar. It's a very similar healing process to find the support that you need within your community.
And I imagine once you get started, is there a fee to get into the house? Is there a fee to be involved?
They will be required to pay an intake fee and the first 2 months rent. So they do pay rent when they live at a house, and so they will work. They're required to work, and there's a lot of other rules that they have to follow. But yes, there is an intake fee and rent that they pay.
Okay, well that seems very fair, and that seems like a really good step to get them back on their feet. Support is something that we all need, especially when we're in situations like this. What kind of community support have you received?
We receive a lot of community support, specifically from the county. We're supported by the Office of Drug Control Policy. We are also supported by other nonprofit organizations in the area that have like-minded missions. We are supported by those that we've helped. We are supported by those that have family members that they have lost or that are struggling. So we have a very large community base that has a lot of different needs.
Now, as a member of the community, what are your biggest needs? Like, what can we do here in Harford County to help you along the way?
Well, we can't do it without fundraising, to be honest, and the community has been amazing the way that they stand behind us in all of our fundraising efforts through Facebook, through local events, some grants that we've received from the county. So we get it from a lot of different places, but it's all based on people wanting to help because they understand that no family is immune.
Oh, very true. And for some of the events that you have coming up, the services, the workshops, any of that stuff, like, how do we find out about it?
Well, you can go to our website. We have anything that's coming up on our website. We also have some local Facebook pages that you can go to find out what's happening. And then we have a podcast too now through Harford County Living that will be able to help us get the word out.
Yes, the podcast that you were talking about, Rich Bennett's such a great guy. And from what I've heard, it's just such a great message getting out to the people in Harford County that you're not alone, there is help, and recovery is possible.
We just wanted to provide little snippets of information to the community about addiction without it always being like, an overwhelming type of, lengthy session, just like picking topics and going from there. And I think it's what people need because there's a lot of different stages of addiction. You have, your active addiction, you have recovery, you have grief, you have family. So we are trying to touch on all of those different things through our program and through the podcast, through our website. And so we just keeps growing.
Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do and the stories that we're going to hear today. I'm really excited to hear how all of these people have turned their lives around. So thank you so much for being willing to share that with us.
Well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Now, we have just scratched the surface here. Coming up next, we're going to find out about all the various programs and resources they have to once again help these people get back on their feet. Stay with us. Rachel Bongiorno is an addiction recovery coach. She's also the program manager at one of the sober living facilities, Daughter's House. She's here to tell us about basically what she does to help people that are in recovery and a little bit about how she got involved as well. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Now, Rachel, tell me, what first brought you to Rage Against Addiction?
I am in recovery,
Okay.
and I met Wendy at a service at church. And we connected there, and I told her, if she ever needed help with anything, that I would, be willing to help. It was like when I first got clean, and our relationship has just blossomed from there. I just helping another person. I think I was just born with like helping people, and it's just really helped me in my life. And then also being able to help another person is just, I can't really explain it. It's just really fulfilling.
Now, you're an addiction recovery coach. What exactly does that mean? Like, what does that entail?
So meeting people where they're at, I think, is a big influence on another person. Just because, like, I am in recovery, and not everyone's journey is the same in recovery. So you're in recovery when you say you are. So that can entail, like, people on maintenance, people that still partake in alcohol and or weed smoking and say that they're clean. So really you just have to like meet people where they're at. And I have just have a lived experience with my life and how I've gotten clean. And so if, I can shed light and share my story with someone, maybe it will turn around and help them.
Are there certain age groups that are more susceptible than other age groups? I mean, does it target like kids more than women, women more than men?
No, it does not discriminate. Age, race, sex, it doesn't matter. It could be a doctor, it could be a lawyer, it could just be a normal, everyday person. So it does not discriminate.
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about people being in recovery and addiction. Can you address some of those?
I would just say the stigma on addiction is really the key word on like how people just judge an addict, an alcoholic, someone with a gambling problem. I mean, it really just, it's just society and what our stigma is on us, that we're bad people, we do bad things. I mean, but that's really the disease that has the grips on us that makes us do those awful things. So
how long would you say, or I mean, maybe there's not a certain time frame, but is there a time frame that you would say it takes to go through the process of recovery?
It's a lifelong process.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's an everyday decision that you're gonna do recovery, that you're not gonna pick up and use a drug or alcohol. So it's an everyday lifetime decision. That's why they say one day at a time. So you just focus on that day. So you're not, thinking about tomorrow or next week so we usually try to live one day at a time in the moment.
Now, you just had, on a happier note, a bull and oyster roast to raise money for this wonderful cause. Tell us about that. I mean, I heard it was a big success.
So it was for Recovery Month. We want to celebrate those in recovery, and we wanted to give them an experience with no alcohol, no drugs, just have a good time, relax. And there was about 200 people there. There was dancing, we call it like kind of fellowshipping in a sense. And it really was a good time. We got a lot of good feedback. We raised money to help other people in recovery. So
now, do you have any other fundraisers planned?
We have our Memory Walk Recovery Run in April. It's one of our biggest events. We walk for those who we've lost, people who are in recovery, and those are still struggling. So it's one of our big events, and we're really looking forward to it this year because last year we had to do it virtually. So it's really a powerful day. It's one of my favorite fundraisers. Just all the people coming together. It really it makes me it fills my heart, but at the same time it's just so powerful that I don't know, I just get this sense of peace over me just being with everyone.
Now, you also were at Daughter's House, and then you became a program manager. Talk about that experience. What was that like?
So Daughter's House is a level 2 sober living for women. What that entails is that it's a structured program. The ladies wake up, do chores, do a 90-90, meeting 90 meetings in 90 days, obtain a sponsor, start working steps, just really try to get back into reality and structure and life and learn how to live again.
So when these women get out of the house, do they go on to live normal lives?
I mean, that's the hope for that. That's why we have houses like this. And there's all different levels of houses. So we hope and reassure them that this is the life that you should be living, and for your children, for your mother, for your father, for yourself, and just try to get them to live life on life's terms.
Rachel, thanks so much. And as I've said it once, I'll say it again. These women have a great leader.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Now, coming up next, we're going to speak to a former resident, find out about her experience with rage and what does her life look like now. That's straight ahead. Very excited about this interview. We have Michelle Suter, and we also have her son, Luca. So excited that they're here today. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank
wow,
you for having us.
How cooperative is this?
I know. He's like this at him too. He's smiling too.
Now, Michelle, of course, I've said it a few times, and I'm very excited. Let's talk about baby Luca.
Well, he was just born about a little bit over a month ago. I had relapsed, and I actually got pregnant with him on my journey. But he helped pull me back in and, help get me clean too, is the way I look at it. He's my blessing baby.
I like the way that you say that. I like how you refer to it as a blessing baby.
Yes.
Now, you have a story to tell. I mean, can you talk a little bit about how you first became involved with Rage?
It was last year, about this time actually. I had gone to a local rehab and they had told me about Daughter's House. And I had seen Rachel at a couple meetings before, but I hadn't really talked to her yet. I got to know her when I asked to be a part of Daughter's House, like when I left the rehab, and they accepted me into it. I loved being here. I really did. It was very welcoming as soon as you got here. They really made it try to feel homey for you, because a lot of us come here and we don't have a home. You know what I mean? And we come right off the street. So Rachel and Wendy, like I said, they welcome you with open arms, and they really do what they can to help you. There's so many different parts of Rage, for the adults, and then they have it for the kids, and they had the after baby program, which I didn't even know about at first, but I'm glad that I found out about it. You know what I mean? There's so many different parts to it, and it's an amazing thing of what they do. They truly try to help you in any way that they can.
What is the after baby program?
That is to where, if you need help getting some, things for your baby, they helped me get, the diaper bag and some clothes and some bottles. They truly, they handed me a paper and, I could fill out different things that I needed help with getting for him. And then they went and got it and sent it right to my house for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was any little thing that I needed. Like I said, it was a diaper bag, there was clothes, a bathtub, a whole bunch of stuff, and they sent it right to me, and it was great because trying to do this on your own, especially just coming out of still being in the recovery process, it's hard. You know what I mean? And it definitely helps. And they said, if I needed help, talking with people or finding stuff like that, they could help you with that as well.
I've heard this from a couple of the other women too, and to me, it sounds like it's a sisterhood.
It is. It really is. Everybody is just one big family. That's the best way to put it. It is the family. And especially for me, because I don't have really much family, support or anything, knowing that I have these group of girls and the women from not just Rage and Daughter's House, but through the whole NA program, it's amazing, and it really helps you stay cleaner. You know what I mean? Because you have them to lean on when you need them the most.
Well, what would you say has been the hardest part for you?
For me, it's actually asking for help. I struggle with asking for help because I tried to do things on my own too much, and nobody can do everything on their own. You got to ask for help sometimes, and it's just something that I struggle with. But in this program, the NA program, you really learn how to do that and learn to not just depend on yourself, but on to somebody else, and they really will help you. It's amazing.
It goes back to the phrase, it takes a village.
It really does.
What does your life look like now, you and Luca?
Well, we are now I was at another treatment program. I left there, and I am at home with my fiance. We are raising the baby together. Her name's Carrie. So we're just living a happy life at home.
What advice would you give to people that are seeking treatment or they really want to get in treatment? What would you say to them so they can get back on their feet and live a life like you're living now?
I know it's scary, especially to make that first step in admitting you need help, but do it. It is so worth it. It is worth picking up that phone and asking somebody, I need help. I need, you know what I mean? To get in, not even just necessarily into rehab, but just somebody to talk to. You need help through it. And the best thing I could have done was reach out for help and get it. And I'll have 9 months clean tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you. Luca, thank you so much for being with us. Now, coming up next, we're going to speak to a former resident from Daughter's House. What was the stay like? How long is the typical stay? And really dive into more of what the recovery process really entails. That's coming up. I'm now here with Meredith Morris. She's going to tell us about her experience being a former house manager and also a former resident herself. What was the process like and where is she at now? Hi, Meredith.
Hello.
So Meredith, Rage Against Addiction, you've had quite a history with them. How did you first find out about them and kind of partner up with them?
I had a friend that went through the daughter's house, and she recommended Rage Against Addiction, Sober Living for Women.
Now, tell me, is this something that you would recommend to other people? I mean, what was your experience like going through recovery? I mean, I imagine that must have been very difficult.
Yeah, it was kind of scary because I've never done anything sober before, so it was like relearning myself completely. But, you know, it's just been a process of bettering myself every day to this day.
Let me ask you, what point in your life did you realize, I've got to turn my life around, I have got to get in recovery?
I mean, I kind of just came to an end. You know, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't like what I saw. I knew I had to change if I wanted better for myself.
Now, after you left the treatment facility, how did you get your life back?
So after daughter's house, I got a job at Ashley Addiction Treatment Center. I'm back in school. I haven't been in school for 12 years. This is my first semester back at Towson, so that's exciting. You know, I'm more available friend, mother, you know, sister.
Now, I know that you said that this has been in your family before, but what kind of impact did this have on your entire family?
Yeah, so I've lost 2 brothers to this disease, and, you know, various other family members struggle. And I like to think that, like, me kind of getting my act together is just like a light to the rest of my family. And, you know, I don't know whether my son will struggle with this disease. So now he has somewhere he can turn, you know, if that were to happen, which, you know, it's a possibility.
When and why did you take on the role of house manager? I mean, what was that like?
So I was surprised. They actually asked me to be the manager, and, you know, I'm kind of more of a shy, reserved. I was scared, you know, scared to take on that role. But the house had given me so much. I wanted to give back what was so freely given to me. And it was really rewarding and special to form a relationship with these women and kind of help them in their process as they, you know, got to know themselves.
Now, we touched on this a little bit, but it's very structured in the house. Can you talk about that?
So, I mean, it's structured, but it's also it's like laid back and structured. So, you know, once they get in, they just got to start working on their recovery and, you know, kind of seeing what makes them, like what they want to do with their life. It's just all about bettering themselves.
Now, are they allowed to have visitors? I mean, can you still see your family? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. You can still see your family. I have a 9-year-old son, so when I was here, he was around 6 years old, and he would come over, spend the weekend. We'd make breakfast for the girls, and then, you know, other visitors too, friends, sponsors, other people in recovery.
Now, all the ladies, from what I've been told, they must have full-time or part-time jobs, correct?
Yep, full-time jobs or part-time jobs. And even if they're, you know, incapable of working, I know that they will help women find, you know, outreach programs to volunteer at. Just, you know, get out there and do something.
And from your experience, I know it can vary, but what is a typical stay in the house? How long are we talking?
So I don't think they really put a time limit on it because they want you to kind of like realize your potential. So like whatever that means for you, like if that means, you know, setting goals like I'm going to get my GED while I'm in the house, or, you know, I need to get my car on the road. I need to pay back all this debt that I have before I can move on. They don't really put a time limit on it so that you can achieve the goals that you need to achieve before transitioning into, you know, regular living.
Meredith, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your personal story. That took a lot of guts, and thank you for what you're doing to help others along the way.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next, we're also going to find out about the impact that it has on the youth. And from what we've been told in previous interviews, as you have heard, Addiction does not discriminate. It can affect anyone at any age. Stay tuned. Leanne Her is here today to talk to us about the Rage Club. She is a Rage Club participant, and this group is just invaluable for families and children that are struggling. Leanne joins us to tell us more. Hi, Leanne.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Leanne, tell me about your partnership. You've got involved with Rage Against Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
How come?
So I got involved with Rage Against Addiction about 4 years ago. Unfortunately, my children lost their uncle due to a drug overdose. It was very important for me for them to be educated about addiction, but also, as anyone knows, the hardest thing about being a child, let alone a teenager, is to feel like you're the only one. I wanted them to have the education about the disease so they knew that their uncle wasn't bad, that he was sick. And I also wanted them to have a community where they felt like they had support.
That brings us to the Rage Club. Let's talk about that. What is it? Who's it geared towards?
So Rage Club was something that Wendy started, and Rachel, and it was for kids and teenagers to have a safe place for therapy. But also to have a safe place where they feel like they're not the only one. It's not discussed addiction at these meetings, but everyone who is there knows that they're there because of currently they have a loved one struggling with the disease of addiction or someone that's passed away.
And you felt that of all the programs, this would be the best for you because of the loss of the uncle, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, tell me about like a typical meeting. Like, how often do they meet, and more about what is discussed?
Yeah, so it is a seasonal meeting. We have one coming up soon, and it's actually at a horse farm where they do equestrian therapy, which is awesome for the kids. They do a holiday one where they do gingerbread houses. It's great. It's like a little community. Like, that's what I get the most from Rage Against Addiction or, the Rage Club, is that it's a bunch of people who understand. And that's hard when you're going through such hard situations.
Now, the kids that are involved, it seems like they really have a chance to bond, and the families, they have a chance to bond as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So we lost their uncle a couple years ago, and that's when I got involved in it. And unfortunately, we lost my children's father in December. So the good thing about that was the support we had already around us for it. It was huge for my girls. Like, Wendy and Rachel were two of the first people who called me up. They were at the viewing. They were at the funeral. They followed up afterwards. Wendy put me in contact with group therapy that they both go to other than the Rage Club, and individual that my youngest goes to. There was Christmases where we didn't have a lot because it was just me and my two girls. So, they showed up to my house with presents, age appropriate. And to just have people there who get it and they don't even ask, they're just there, have been huge for me and my girls.
Now, is the group open to anybody? I mean, how do we get involved? How do we sign up? How do we get more information?
You can go on Facebook. They have the Rage Against Addiction, and I know there's a website too. With that, they have Rage Club, and they'll have links for that. The events are free. It's great. You just sign up and you get a ticket. We also did something with the Ashley Family Program, which was great. They paid for it for me and my girls to go to. It was a full day of therapy and fun for them, and then actually the adults and the family members got to be together, and I was reluctant to go, and it was like one of the best things I've ever done. It's just nice to have that support.
Leanne, thank you so much. It's great to have you, and you know what? I really like your positivity. Like, you are proof that this can work, and the friendships, that's just incredible what you've told me today.
The relationships are invaluable for going through something like this.
Okay, Leanne, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you are as moved and inspired by the stories that you have seen today, the personal accounts of people that have gone through the recovery process and now are leading full, fulfilling lives. If you or anyone you know is struggling with drug or alcohol abuse, Rage Against Addiction is the place for you. You can visit them at rageagainstaddiction.org for more information. I'm Christy Breslin. See you next month on Harford MagaScene.